we need a belief in the state of Israel. Not that the state of Israel is such is always something to be admired. There are a lot of secular elements in the state of Israel. Israeli society has much that needs to be corrected. There's much that is lacking. But nevertheless, it is a fulfillment of prophecy. It is important. It is important in biblical terms and also in ancestral terms. The Jews are the brothers of the 10 tribes. So the 10 tribes are their brothers. And the Bible indicates that the 10 tribes have, in principle, an obligation to help the Jews and to free a brotherhood towards them. And that we all need to realize who we are, what family we belong to, and the implications of it. We Israelite nations whom we identify as descendants of lost 10 tribes, not that every one of those countries belongs to lost 10 tribes, but lost 10 tribes are important elements amongst them, have had a major influence in the historical and cultural point of view. And in some cases, it may be a majority of the population, or at least a significant minority. At all events, they are present in the certain nations and have given something of their tribal character to those peoples. So the Israelite nations whom we identify are the USA, Canada, Britain, Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Iceland, Netherlands, Belgium, France, Switzerland, and Finland. And the tribes that we identify, we identify with Joseph, that is both Ephraim and Manasseh. The countries USA, Canada, Britain, Australia, New Zealand. All those are the nations of Joseph. Ireland, that is Southern Ireland era, we identify with Asher and Dan. Sweden with the tribe of Gad. Norway with the tribe of Naphtali. Denmark with Dan. Iceland possibly with Dan. The Netherlands with Zebulun, Belgium with Benjamin, France with Reuben, Switzerland with Issachar, and Finland also with Issachar. All those nations have other elements from other Israelite tribes amongst them, and in some cases the dominant tribe is blatant, is overwhelming influence from a certain tribe, and in other cases it's touch and go, and we may have to modify them. In the past we may have modified here and there one or two of our identifications, and may yet have to do so in the future, but that is what we go with, what we work, what we know as we know it. That is what the present state of knowledge allows us to say. Another point is the present situation. Why information of the lost 10 tribes is important? It's because of the state of Israel. The state of Israel represents the Jewish people, and the Jewish people are therefore the tribe, the mother lode, one could say, the tribe that is still retains its identification as the Israelite, as the Hebrew entity, and therefore to the world it represents what being a Hebrew is, what a Hebrew is. People know it from the Jews, from the state of Israel, and this was a prophecy. This was a prophecy of Jacob. Jacob has said, this is the way it would be. He said, Judah, your brothers will acknowledge you. They will acknowledge who you are. That Judah is the main Israelite tribe. And Judah is the tribe that the 10 tribes will return to rejoin unto. So Judah has a potential role. Also the future Messiah will come from Judah. So, and therefore the state of Israel has an importance. It has importance for fulfilling biblical prophecy, and also it represents the Bible to many people. Many people are against the state of Israel because it represents the Bible. And those who support the state of Israel in an overwhelming number of cases do so because of the Bible. And the state of Israel doesn't always feel easy with this identification. Other people don't feel easy with it, but that is reality. And this is a reality, and it's a truth, and it's not something to be ashamed of. And it's actually a strength, source of strength, and therefore we should emphasize it. And by revealing that the 10 tribes are amongst Western nations, we help the state of Israel. We should notice that all the nations of the world, most of the rest of the world, are against the state of Israel. We have a few facts and figures here. We won't go through them all. We just point them out. From 215 to 222, the United General Assembly adopted 140 resolutions against Israel and 68 against other nations. 148 against Israel and 68 against all the rest of the world put together. And they have numerous figures like that, and they all point in the same mission. All the nations who warred against the state of Israel over and over again, and a minority helping the state of Israel or supporting the state of Israel. We have, we can go through the figures and work them out, but they're on the internet, and what we just said is correct, and that is the way it goes. And the state of Israel, first of all, is not doing anything really bad against the Palestinians. The Palestinians are provoking Israelite reactions to Israel government is too soft. It's too soft in how it deals with them. And it is too soft because that is the Jewish nature. The Jewish nature were in exile thousands of years, and all think that they still have the galut, the exile mentality. They had to survive by emphasizing the principles of tolerance and so on because people were being intolerant to them. And now that they're in charge, they're also practicing it. And they're turning the other cheek, even though it doesn't say that in Jewish sources. But that's what they're turning the other cheek, and they're too soft towards the Palestinians. But even the little that they do, the minimum they do in order to survive, is misinterpreted by the rest of the world as atrocities. And all kinds of lies are told about the state of Israel. And even if the lies were true, God forbid, even if the lies were true, it would be nothing compared to the real atrocities that we see every day amongst other nations in the world. Numerous other nations abuse human rights. China, Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, Cuba, Turkey, Pakistan, Vietnam, Algeria, and about 175 other countries all persecute their minorities, all do terrible things to their minorities and to their own citizens. And no one says anything about them, or very seldom. But Israel just says something. Israel is just suspected of looking the wrong way towards the Arabs here, and all the world stands up on its hind feet and starts shouting at all events. At all events, in the United Nations and also in its foreign relations, the USA is the main supporter of Israel. And the USA is also the major Israelite nation in our time. The USA helps the state of Israel. Israel helps fund the state of Israel. Israel helps Israel in the economic sense, in the military sense, in the foreign relations sense. If it was not for the USA, Israel would be in a very serious situation. It's been that way for a long time, for quite a good while now. But even so, in the USA itself, you have lovey-doveys, you have all kinds of Democrats, you have and Republicans and left-wing thinkers and progressive people, and they too put pressure on Israel to go soft in its dealings with the Palestinians and its dealings with its neighbors, and in some instances it harms the state of Israel, it harms us. But nevertheless, it's USA's only friend we have, so we have to learn to get along with it and hope that they'll see the light and correct themselves. At all events, they are doing better than anyone else. Everything we say is relative. Compared to all the others, they are much better. And we also have, in the USA, we have all kinds of other elements. We have anti-Jewish people, we have Hispanic people, black people, left-wing, atheistic, progressive thinkers, all kinds of people. Some of them are actually kind-hearted and well-intentioned, but they also do a lot of harm. And also the right-wing conspiracy theory advocates in the USA also do harm to us or speak against the Jews. And they need to repent and correct their ways. And if they are not sure how to do that, they can come to us. Anyway, nations that support Israel in recent times in the UN and elsewhere, primarily USA, also Canada, Britain, and Australia. Okay, USA, Canada, Britain, and Australia are the major countries that support Israel to the extent that the state of Israel is supported. USA, Canada, UK, Britain, Australia. Nations that supported Israel in the recent past, but recently have not done so, include Norway. Norway was once a friend of ours, but now it's pro-Palestinian, but nevertheless in the past, the beginning was quite friendly towards us, Israel. Denmark, Finland, the Netherlands, Belgium, and France. France at one stage helped the state of Israel a lot, and then it changed its colours, or to some degree. And nations that historically have an ambivalent attitude towards Israel and the Jews, sometimes helping, other times not, include Belgium, as we said, France and Switzerland, and nations that we identify as Israelite, as of Israelite descent, that have very seldom, if ever, helped Israel in the past and have a legacy of anti-Semitism, include Ireland and Iceland. Both of them have bad records and bad attitudes, so they have a problem there. And they should put themselves in order at any event, at all events. Places where peoples of Israelite descent dominant and have a relatively strong association with biblical beliefs, at least in the past, will usually be strong in their support for Israel. Most nations who support the state of Israel today belong to the tribes of Joseph, Ephraim, and Manasseh. They are the main nations. The USA, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, they are Israelite nations. They are primarily pertaining to the tribes of Joseph, Ephraim, and Manasseh. Nations that have helped the state of Israel in the past and may occasionally do so, even now, in nearly every case, belong only to the other tribes. Okay? This is consistent with the sources. The Bible and related sources relate. The Bible-related sources indicate that the tribes of Joseph, Ephraim, and Manasseh will be the first to return, and they will initiate the reconciliation with Judah, and the other tribes will follow after them. This is consistent with the reality of what we see now. See the voting records in the UN, whatever you like, other things, whatever criteria you want to measure this by, it plays itself out. The problem is that most people are not aware of it, not aware of its tribal significance, but we're getting there. At least we noticed it. And others, God willing, will notice it and see its significance. Source concerning the end times of Judah and Joseph, Zechariah 10:6. I will strengthen the house of Judah and I will save the house of Joseph. Judah and Joseph together. I will bring them back because I have mercy on them. They shall be as though I had not cast them aside, for I am the Lord their God and will hear them. So to Amos 5, verse 15, hate evil, love good, establish justice in the gate. And maybe the Lord God of hosts will be gracious to the remnant of Joseph. He's speaking about Joseph in the return of the end times. So the Midrash, Rabbi Eliezer, says, and Yaakov Shimoni, other sources say that the descendants of Manasseh, that portion of Manasseh was east of the Jordan at least, will be the first to return in the end times. They will lead the way, and that is what they're doing now. Manasseh, through the USA, has initiated, or is a leading Israelite nation in beginning, doing something along the lines of reconciliation with Judah and helping Judah. So that is, it's worth knowing.